Sa mga nagtatanong at naghihintay kung kailan ba talaga mag-o-open ang border ng New Zealand, ito na ang kasagutan mga kabayan. Hi everyone! Today I'm sharing with you the latest updates regarding the New Zealand borders as of August 2021. Kailan ba talaga magbubukas ang border ng New Zealand at ano-ano yung mga criteria para makapunta at makapasok kayo dito sa bansang to. If you're new here, kamusta mga kabayan? My name is Anne, aka Girl Chasing Sunshine, and I'm your Pinay girl here in New Zealand. I make videos about my life here in New Zealand as a Filipino immigrant who started with just a working holiday visa. Don't forget to like this video, click subscribe, and hit the notification bell para updated kayo lagi kapag mayroon akong bagong videos about how to migrate here to New Zealand. Also, as a reminder and invitation mga kabayan, ongoing pa rin ang ating anniversary giveaway until August 21. So, just watch this video para sa detalye on how to join our 10,000 pesos anniversary giveaway. Ito na nga mga kabayan, I know marami sa inyo talagang nag-aabang kung kailan ba talaga mag-o-open ang border ng New Zealand. And finally, eto na, nakikita na natin ang liwanag mga kabayan. Last Thursday, August 12, there was an event called the Reconnecting New Zealanders to the World Forum. And the most important announcement from that event was of course from the Prime Minister of New Zealand, Jacinda Ardern. She announced a plan on how and when New Zealand borders will open again. So kung interesado kayong mabasa at mapanood ng buo yung speech niya mga kabayan, I'll put a link down below. So, the big question, kailan na nga ba? I'm pleased to share mga kabayan that New Zealand borders will open again from early 2022. But it's going to be a risk-based approach. Anong ibig sabihin nun? Siguro i-quote na lang natin yung mismong sinabi ni Prime Minister.
As a first step, from next year, once everyone who is eligible is offered a vaccine and we have good coverage through the criteria I just described, we'll move to a risk-based pathway system of travel. That means the nature of your entry into New Zealand will be dependent on a couple of key things, in particular your vaccination status and where you have been for the last 14 days.
Yung mga gustong pumunta ng New Zealand, you will be grouped into 3 entry pathways. Low-risk group, medium-risk group, and high-risk group. O, diba? Simpleng-simple mga kabayan. Low, medium, high. Parang yung mga alert levels. 1, 2, 3, 4. Napakadaling intindihin at maintindihan. To get in the low-risk group, kailangan po fully vaccinated na kayo and you are coming from a country that's considered low-risk. Kailangan po nagstay kayo sa country na yon for the last 14 days. If you're classified as part of the low-risk group, you don't need to quarantine when you enter New Zealand. Pwedeng-pwede na po kayong pumunta dito at hindi nyo na kailangang mag-manage isolation facility or any isolation at all. Hindi na po required yon if you are considered low risk. Next naman, the medium risk group. Kailangan pa rin po na fully vaccinated kayo and you are coming from a country that's considered medium risk. Sa category na to, kailangan nyo pa rin pong mag-quarantine, pero the good news is, it can be a modified form of quarantine. So either, pwede pong home isolation or a shorter stay sa isang managed isolation facility. Hindi na yung full 14 days. Lastly, the high-risk group. Ito naman po yung mga unvaccinated travelers and those coming from a country na considered high-risk. Kapag nasa category kayo na to, kailangan po kayong mag-full 14 days stay at a managed isolation facility. In all those categories, kailangan pa rin po na bago kayo mag-travel papuntang New Zealand, nag-negative kayo sa COVID-19 test. Kasi sinasabi pa rin that the testing system will remain in place. So, before departure, kailangan nyo mag-test and most likely, upon arrival in New Zealand, kailangang i-test kayo ulit. If you notice mga kabayan, yung mga categories, bukod sa vaccination status, nakadepende rin siya kung saang bansa ka galing. So all countries will be group based on risk and yung mga criteria, it will depend on a number of factors including yung number of cases sa isang bansa, vaccination rates, kung tumataas ba yung cases ng variants, and lastly, kung confident ba si New Zealand sa sistema at strategy ng isang bansa in managing an outbreak. Ngayon, kung tatanungin ninyo, nasa ang category ba si Philippines? Hindi ko po alam kasi wala pang nilalabas na listahan ng final categories ng mga bansa para sa system na to. Pero sa ngayon, si New Zealand, as of August 2021, meron po siyang tinag na mga bansang considered as very high risk. Ano-ano yung mga bansang yon? Brazil, India, Fiji, Pakistan, Indonesia, at Papua New Guinea. Dahil dapat fully vaccinated para mapunta sa low risk or sa medium risk na group, I'm sure ang susunod yung tanong mga kabayan, anong brand ng bakuna ba ang tatanggapin ng New Zealand? Sa ngayon po, as of August 2021, wala pong specific na sinabi. Ang sinabi lang, as long as fully vaccinated, maaari kayong makategorize sa low risk or sa medium risk na group. Wala pa pong announcement kung meron bang specific brand ng vaccine na tatanggapin. So mga kabayan, please, wag na po sana tayong magpaka-choosy. Kung meron kayong opportunity to get vaccinated, please, parang awan nyo na, do it mga kabayan. So again, sa ngayon po, as of now, August 2021, wala pa pong announcement si New Zealand kung meron ba silang specific brand ng vaccine na i-require or tatanggapin para sa mga gustong pumasok. Itong bagong system na to, all of this is supposed to be happening in early 2022. Actually, to be more specific nga, ang sinabi dun sa announcement, first quarter of 2022. Medyo good news talaga kasi ayan na, may nakikita na tayong konting liwanag, lalong-lalo na dun sa mga migrants na merong temporary visa na na-stuck offshore nung nag-start yung pandemic, and yung mga split families, magkakaroon na sila ng chance to reunite again. Ang goal is to be under the low-risk group, so you don't need to quarantine when you go here to New Zealand. Hindi nyo na kailangang mag-book ng managed isolation facility space. Kasi sa ngayon, yun yung challenging yung makakuha ng space sa managed isolation facility kasi medyo problematic and medyo challenging yung booking system. Tapos, meron pang cost involved. So, what needs to happen para tuloy-tuloy at wala nang aberya itong pinakahihintay nating 2022 New Zealand border reopening? For the rest of 2021, the government will be focused on vaccinating as many people here in New Zealand as possible. Tapos nabanggit rin na from October to December 2021, magkakaroon ng trial period yung medium risk self-isolation system to see how well it works. Pero yung mga makakasama sa trial period, New Zealand citizens and permanent residents only. So ayan mga kabayan, hopefully if all goes well talaga, by early 2022, New Zealand borders will reopen again. But mga kabayan, reminder lang po ha, in order to travel here to New Zealand, kahit anong group pa kayo, low risk, medium risk, or high risk, tandaan nyo na kailangan nyo pa rin ng valid visa para makapunta dito. Kahit anong visa, basta one that would allow you to travel to New Zealand. Pero sa ngayon, wala pa pong announcement kung kailan ulit magre-resume yung temporary visa applications para doon sa mga nasa labas ng New Zealand. But ako, I'm hopeful na since nagkaroon na nga ng border update announcement, sana yung susunod na announcement naman is kung kailan naman magre-resume ulit yung temporary visa applications for offshore applicants. Ilalagay ko yung links ng mga na-discuss natin today kabayan sa baba if you want to fully absorb everything. And of course, kung meron ulit bagong update, I will make sure na babalitaan ko kayo agad-agad mga kabayan. Before I say goodbye, I'm inviting all of you again to join our 10,000 pesos anniversary giveaway. You can join here on YouTube or pwede rin sa Facebook. Tapos meron pa tayong few postcards left para sa ating mga TikTok followers. Para malaman niyo yung detalye, just watch our anniversary video kung saan shinare ko yung mga lessons na natutunan ko about moving to New Zealand. I hope nakatulong tong video na to sa inyo mga kabayan. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, comment below kung meron kayong mga tanong, and kung di pa kayo subscriber, make sure you hit the subscribe button and yung katabing notification bell para updated kayo lagi kung meron akong bagong uploads. Kita-kits ulit tayo sa susunod na video mga kabayan!